Hello. Today we're going to talk about the exposure triangle. I'm going to try to unwind this thing for you. Um, Basically, what the exposure triangle is, there's three sides. You have aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Your aperture is in your lens. It's kind of like the iris of your eye. The more it's open, the more light it lets in. The more it closes, the less light comes in. It's almost like a fraction. Like if you have your aperture is a 2, it's like 1 over 2, which is 1/2. If it's a 4, then it's half of a 2, which is 1/4. If that makes sense. So you look at it 1/2, 1/4. All right. So now you have your shutter speed. Your shutter speed are also like your eyes. Your shutter speed is in your camera, is in front of your sensor. It opens and closes at different speeds. Say you are got your eyes closed and you open them and then close them quick, then you stop movement. If you have your eyes closed and you open them, keep them open for 2 or 3 seconds, and you close them, you get more movement. So it's kind of like your eyes. All right. So now what we're going to do is, or I should say your ISO. Let me get into your ISO. Your ISO is basically a filler. It actually fills in the light that your aperture and your shutter speed can't get. And it kind of makes up what it thinks should be there. It is all digital and computerized. All right, so let's get into the next part of this. We're going to go into an actual visual on my camera. All right, here we are. We're got the camera set up and we're ready to start this demo. If you look on the bottom left, you will see my shutter speed right now is at 1/50th of a second. My f-stop is f4 and my ISO is 500. If you'll look over to the right hand side of your screen, you will see a plus, a 0, and a minus. That is the built-in light meter on the camera. That tells you when the camera thinks it is properly exposed. All right, for this demo, we're just going to use this meter. You don't always have to go by it. You can always underexpose a little bit or over, depending on your personal preference. Basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to take my f-stop and I'm going to increase it to f8. And that's 1, oh, hold on. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's 6 clicks. All right, if you'll notice over on the light meter on the side, it has dropped 2 full light stops, basically. You've gone, or I should say that's, 2 full light stops. Okay, in order to raise that back to what it says is proper exposure, we will have to decrease the shutter speed. The shutter speed is at 1/50th. So we went up 6. We're going to go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we are back to 0. Alrighty, if you don't want the shutter speed to be that low, say you want the shutter speed to be, let's add 3. 1, 2, 3. 1/25th of a second. If that's the lowest you want to go on that, you see it's still underexposed. So now what you want to do is you want to increase your ISO. So we will go 1, 2, 3. And that balanced it back out to what the screen or your camera says should be. Perfectly balanced. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Whatever you add to one, you have to take away from either one or both of the other, or vice versa. So basically, say we wanted our shutter speed to be 1/100th of a second. We will add that up Let me turn that off real quick. All right, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we went up 6. So now, where we're at here, we'll either have to go down by 3 on the f-stop. We can go 1, 2, 3 on the f-stop. And then we can increase the ISO by 3, 2, 3. And then we're back where we need to be. So that's pretty much how easy this is to do. So like I said, basically if you reduce your f-stop or your shutter speed, then you have to adjust on the other. So basically if you increase on your ISO, let me rephrase. If you increase on your aperture, you have to decrease on your shutter speed or increase on your ISO. If you decrease on your aperture, then you can reduce on your you can increase on your shutter speed or you can reduce on your ISO. So it just depends on how you want to work the camera. It depends on what your preferences are on what you need for your shutter speed, or your ISO should be the last thing you actually have to change. You do as much as you can, get it, say you want this thing at f4. All right, let me put that back down. Alrighty. We're going to go back down to f4 on my f-stop. And basically, I want to go, the lowest I want to go is 1/50th on my shutter speed. So we'll reduce it to 1/50th. And now what we have to do to balance it back out is we have to reduce on the ISO. So if we reduce on the shutter speed, we can reduce on the ISO. If we increase on the shutter speed, we have to increase on the ISO. If we decrease on the aperture, then we can decrease on the ISO, or we can increase on the shutter speed. All right, that concludes our lesson for today. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and push the notification bell. If you have any further questions or suggestions, leave them down in the comments. I thank you and greatly appreciate your support. See you later. Thank you.